Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on the crochet cable work blanket just as you see here, and the cables intertwine with each other in a really fabulous way. This is a really easy Afghan when you break down the steps and really look at it from a different perspective. Today I'm going to be walking you through this pattern. I'm also going to walk you through the diagram. I'm also going to teach you how to make it a different size if you prefer, and let's start diving more into this project. To complete this project you'll need the Bernat Maker Home Dec yarn, and you'll need a total of 8 of these balls in order to do it, and you'll need an 8mm size L crochet hook in order to play. This is a thick yarn and it is made of cotton, and 72% cotton, 28% nylon. So those that are in the south that have warmer temperatures, because this is cotton yarn, this is one of those really fabulous Afghans that you can use for your home and still enjoy during the warmer months. So in today's pattern there's actually 3 pages. You have this starting just like you see here, has all the instructions that you have if you'd like to follow it through reading this as well, and then also has all the information as we go through. So page number 2 we have more information on how things are going to work up, and then on page number 3, which is my favorite, is the crochet diagrams in order to get this to go. Now this is a reduced sample of just showing you how the cable work is moving, and what I've done here is that I've created an extra worksheet that will be available exclusively on the crochetcrowd.com underneath this particular project, and I will have shown you how to make it bigger in my particular worksheet, which I'll cover later today as well. So this is how it's all going to work, and you'll see that if you really look carefully you'll see this is how this Afghan looks. And let's keep on flipping and let's take a look at the pattern close up. So here's what you see here, and you can see that it's just intertwined, so it comes across the middle, crosses over, and then comes back and around. This is all just special effects. It's really quite easy to be able to do. So then we have one more photo to show you. And so you can see here a nice close-up view of it. You can see how it's gonna work, and this is a one-sided project, so all the cable is going to appear on one side only. The other side will be completely flat. So all of this beautiful work that you see is all on one side of the project, and then it has tassels if you would like to do that as well within your project. So let me take you to my special worksheet and let me start to explain that, because it's actually pretty easy once you get to know this pattern. So to figure out how to do more of it, you will notice that this is a cut piece of paper, and when you look at it from this perspective you can actually see the original paper. And what I did is I printed 2 copies off, and then I cut it in a specific spot, and then I overlaid it so that you can see how this works. So the outsides stay consistent with each other, and then it's just the interior. So you have these V stitches dropping down, and then you have your cable work that crosses over, V stitches that separate these cables, and then a V stitch again, and then continue. So I did it this way so that I was able to figure out the multiple chain counts in order to figure out how to make this bigger, because a lot of people say, well, I'd like to change the size. How do you do it? So I had to do that. So let's go to my worksheet now. Let me show you what it looks like. So this worksheet will be available on the crochetcrowd.com. I have one more to show you that's all completely marked up, and what I did is that I put it through Photoshop and I overlaid it, and I put it so it's all on one piece of paper, and then I did the repeat chains. So to do this pattern over for different sizes, the number is 21, so you chain in sets of 21. So 21, 21, 21, 21, and when you're satisfied with the width of it, you just have to add 15 chains, as you can see here. So it's multiples of 21 plus 15. So you can see that there's 4 chains left on this side and 11 chains were left on this side. So in order to have balance on this particular project you have to keep it within multiples of 21 plus 15 in order to make it work. So that's why you have here, so you have to add 15 chains at the end to maintain the balance, which gives you this outside rows that you see right here. So let me show you what this looks like all marked up, and then we're gonna continue from that point. So here's my marked up sheet, and what this is the same pattern, but I had Daniel change me the colors so that I can illustrate how to teach you today. So you'll see that there's in multiples of 21 that you saw that there was 4 left over on one side and 11 at the other. So you go 21, 21, 21, 21, and then add 15 then at the end to make it balanced. So what you're gonna notice is that there's called setup rows. From 1 through 3 is a setup row. So 1, 2, and 3. So you have to go back and forth, remember. So we're only ever going to do that once, and that's the only time we're going to do that in order to get this pattern to establish itself so that you can start doing the cable work. Once you get to a certain point, then once you get past 3, it's then going to start from rows 1 through 14, and every time you complete 1 through 14 you come back and complete 1 through 14 again, and 1 through 14 is allowing the cables to switch over to do the effects that you saw within the Afghan. The neat thing about this particular pattern is that every other row, once you get into 1 to 14 is just straight single crochet across. So all the cable work appears on the side that you're working on, so that you never have to worry about what's on the other side of the project. So everything in the even rows from 1 through 14, so that'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and 14, are all just straight single crochets back. That's all it is. So really the thinking power is within going in the odd rows is starting from 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11 and 13. Those are the ones that have all the cable work that appear. So once you're thinking that this is gonna be a really complex pattern, if you think that every other row is just straight single crochet back, it's almost like a typewriter, right? So you're just resetting yourself and then coming back and then starting again, and that's where all the cable will appear. But there's more colors. Let me tell you a little bit about those. So I had Daniel mark me some different consistencies. So you'll notice that he put things in green. So in green what happens is that there's a chain space. So it's single crochet and then chain 1, which skips over 1, and then a single crochet on the other side. And what that is that you have to leave this chain 1 space empty, because this stitch in the next row up here comes all the way down and attaches itself to this stitch. So if you fill that in, then you can't do it. So it leaves a whole space for you. So the neat thing about this particular one is that when you're going to work on these kind of ideas, then what happens is that you're always gonna leave the chain 1 space in the same spot going all the way up. And you do that every time it's this V shape that is appearing in this Afghan. I also had him mark me in orange when two single crochets are sitting beside each other. You can see that they're consistent. So when you look for consistency, you don't have to think too much. It's just the only places that you need to think are within rows number 7, just like you see here, and in rows number 9. In rows number 9, okay, 7 and 9, you'll see that there's 3 single crochets instead of 2, and then you'll see that you have to fill in the space because this is crossing over, and then there's 3 on the other side. So you want to look for what's consistent, just like when you're looking on the edge. Always in the edge when you're having these cables going across, there's always just going to be 1 single crochet sitting by itself. And if you think about things that are consistent with each other, it makes these patterns a lot easier to work with. So you're able to print this off if you like it on the crochetcrowd.com as a PDF, and we're going to be working our way through. I'm going to get you started from rows 1 through 3, and then I'm going to show you the entire repeat rows from 1 to 14. And then in order for you to finish this Afghan, you got to keep going from 1 to 14, 1 to 14. Once you're satisfied with it, or if you're following the instructions, you will then do repeat rows number 1 last time, and then the next row is 1 double crochet in each stitch going across, which gives you the consistent look of being equal to this side of this Afghan. So you notice how you have double crochets all here. So you're gonna repeat rows number 1 and then just do double crochets all the way across, which gives you the consistent look that you see here. So without further ado, let's grab our 8mm size L crochet hook and let's start working through this pattern. So when we're looking at the instructions, what we have is the cable pattern right at the front of it here. This is not where to start this pattern. You want to start on page number 2 right here with the blanket. So chain 120 and then see the chart on page number 3, and then you have the setup rows 1, 2 and 3, which you can see in the diagram, and then it says repeat the pattern as follows. So this is where you're gonna start if you're working on this, and then I'm going to be following it on the diagram myself, and then I will continue to do that. So now let's grab your hook and yarn. Let's get started. So you can either chain 120 if you want to follow the pattern exactly, or you can do what I'm gonna do, where I'm just gonna do a small sample. You can change the sizes at any time. Remember, the repeat counts were in chain 21s, so 21 chains, and then you add 15 at the end. So to do that, you just go start chaining. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. So there is one repeat pattern right there of 21. So I'm gonna do it one more time. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So if you're doing a custom size, all you can just do, lay it down on something, see if it's big enough. As long as you keep it in chains of 21, you're good. And then once you're satisfied, just add 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I have my chains 21 in sets of 21, and then I added 15 at the very end. So let's now move on to setup row number 1. So let's do setup row number 1. So we'll only ever do this once in our project. So setups rows 1, 2, and 3 will only ever be completed one time. So let's go the 4th chain from the hook. So count back so you see the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn the chain over and get that 4th one in the back loop only. So wrap the hook and double crochet into the back loop. And all I want you to do on setup row number 1 is just continue to move down your chain, just continuing to go in the back loop only, and just double crochet yourself all the way across. So it doesn't matter what size you're working on for with me, just continue to double crochet all the way down. I'll see at the end of this chain. So I just double crocheted myself all the way to the last chain, and now I'm gonna turn my work up, and now we're going to start setup row number 2. So setup row number 2 is really quite easy. We're just going to work our way across. Let me pull up the diagram and show you what we're up to. So let's start up setup row number 2. So we're just gonna chain up 1, and it's 1 single crochet in the first one, and then the next 2 are front post double crochets. I know that they're front post double crochets because there's no back post double crochets on these things, or back post trebles at all. So the next 3 just right on the edge only is only gonna be 3 single crochets followed by chain 1, skip 1, and then there will be 4 here, 4 single crochets, and then 2 more front post double crochets, and then there's 2 of single crochets, then there's 4 front post double crochets, and then there's 2, and so on. So you just can follow it straight across like that and just continue to watch, and as you are getting your pattern to be more and more, so say you have more than this what you see on here, then you just keep repeating this section right here. Okay, it can be this one, it doesn't matter. They're both the same, and you just continue to go, and then once you get to the end you're gonna be left with this section here, and then you just finish it off as you see it. So let's move along row number 2. So let's start up number 2. This is a setup row, so we'll only ever do this once. So we're gonna chain up 1, and we're gonna do a single crochet into the very first one like so, and then the next 2 are front post double crochets. So coming down, see that these are posts that you see, so you're gonna wrap the hook and you're gonna go into the side of the post and back out the other side, pull through, and then pull through 2 and 2 like a regular double crochet. It's a front post double crochet, and you'll do the next one the same way. So coming wrapping it, going into the side of the post, pull through, then 2 and 2. So now the next 3, okay, so the next 3 that you see is going to be single crochets. So just single crochets, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we're gonna follow it with the chain 1, and we're gonna skip 1 and single crochet into the next 4. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I want to explain something before I continue. So this one that you just skipped over as you did it right here, okay, you just got to keep an eye on that one, okay, because it looks like it blends, but this is where the next front post trebles are gonna come down into this particular stitch. Okay, so it's gonna go overlaying work, and it will come right into that stitch that you just skipped over. So then you continue along. So the next 2 are front post double crochet, so wrap it and coming into the next 2 just with front post double crochets. Okay, so we're starting the cable itself. Okay, this is the one side. Okay, the next 2 are single crochets each, 1 and 2, and this is the middle of the cable that's coming up. So the next 4 in a row are all going to be front post double crochets in this round, or in this row, sorry. So just 4 in a row. So this is the middle of the cable that you see. Okay, so there's gonna be 4 in a row like that. Okay, you can kind of start seeing how things are coming together. You'll see it more noticeable as we continue. So then the next one on the other side, there's gonna be 2. Remember Daniel highlighted that in orange to give you consistency. So there was 2 leading into the 4, and then there's 2 leading after. The next 2 are front post double crochets again, and this is the cable itself as well. and then the next 4 are just single crochets. So just continue along. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, chain 1, okay, skip 1 and single crochet into the next 4. So this is going to be the V shapes that you see that separate the cables. Okay, so that one that you just skipped, see it's right there. So now we're going to continue, and so you're going to continue what you already just learned again, and we're going to start another cable section. So the first 2 are going to be front post double crochets, and then the next 2 are going to be single crochets, and then the next 4 are the middle of the cable work itself. So they're going to be front post double crochets for 4 in a row. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. The next 2 are going to be single crochets, 1 and 2. The next 2 are front post double crochets. You will get to know this pattern relatively quickly, I believe that. Okay, I did, and I think it's not that hard. You don't really see the cabling effecting happening yet, but it will be soon. So the next 4 are going to be single crochets. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then finally you're gonna be finishing up. So you just gotta watch those repeat patterns, just watch it. So you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then you're going to put in 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3. The next 2 you only have 3 left. This is the very edge. The next 2 are just front post double crochets, just like that, and then the final one is just a single crochet in the end in the turning chain. Okay, so that's what it looks like right now, and the cabling work will really see it, but you have cabling jumping out, okay, and you have it jumping out here if you can see it. So there's the 4 in the middle, there's the 2 on the other side, and then the sections that are flat in the middle, those will be the V sections coming up. So let's move along to setup row number 3. So let's turn our work and do setup row number 3. Very easy row, and you'll notice in the direction that it's going from in the diagram, and you'll notice that it's going straight back. So just gonna chain up 1, and then every stitch, including the chain 1 space that we leave, you gotta watch those, are just gonna be 1 single crochet each. That's it. So when you're going in this direction, they're always just gonna be 1 single crochet. So I'm looking for that chain 1 space. Okay, it's right there. If you want to mark something with the stitch marker, you can if you're gonna miss it, if you think you're gonna miss it. So here's the chain 1 space, go right into the chain 1 space and single crochet, and then continue right on afterward. So you can see that it creates this hole that you need to access later. So continuing just a single crochet again, and if it's easier for you to have a stitch marker in order for you to see that hole, sometimes it's easier. I'd strongly recommend it. Just move it up every time you create that particular hole in those spots, and then therefore you'll never miss them. So you can see on the back side, you can see that there's 3-dimensional going on, and that is the cabling effect that will be happening on the other side. So I'm just gonna run myself across another hole that's coming up, just to make sure that you pay attention to that. Okay, see where it looks inconsistent? It means it's a hole. So when you hit the hole, just make sure you go right into the hole itself, to the gap space, the chain 1 space, and then continue along. And please do the same thing of single crochets all the way across, including those chain 1 spaces, and I'll see at the end of this row, which is number 3 of the setup row, and then we start rows 1 through 14 together. So I'm at the end of row number 3. This is setup row number 3. You really don't see the cabling happening too much, but you'll see it come up really shortly. You can see some raised stuff going, and now we're gonna start repeat rows 1 to 14. This is where you'll start whenever you want to repeat rows 1 through 14 if you need more video help after we get through it. So let's take a look at the chart and let's see what we're gonna do today. So now we're going to begin rows number 1 through 14, which is the repeat pattern, and you'll continue to come back. So when you get 14 done, come back down here to 1. So right now what's gonna happen is that we're gonna start up and we're gonna chain up 1 and then single crochet into the outside. So you'll see that it's always single crochet into the outside. Okay, look for consistency. The next one is going to be a front post double crochet, but it's going around this front post double crochet. So you're skipping over that single crochet line that you just had when you came back on number 3. You're then going to single crochet into the next, okay, and then the next one is a front post treble that goes all the way into that chain 1 space where that stitch is, and then you are going to single crochet into the next one, chain 1, single crochet to the next one, and then front post double crochet back to that same one there to create that V shape. You're then going to single crochet twice, and then the next 2 are the front post double crochets going around the other ones, and then single crochet twice, and then front post trebles over on an angle for the next 2, and then we're gonna come back and do these 2 for the next 2 and then continue on just like that. So use the diagram to help you to keep visualizing. If you need to continue to repeat, there's the lines here to show you what you need to do to keep repeating, and then once we get to the end we're going to then just finish it off this section here as if it, in order to keep it in balance. So let's start row number 1. So let's start row number 1 together. We're going to chain 1 and we're gonna do a single crochet into the very first one. Okay. The next 2, this whole cable on the outside will always be into the same position. So you're going to front post double crochet around this front post double crochet. So wrap that hook and go around this one down here. Okay, so it's 2 rows below, and then just do a front post double crochet around that same one, and that'll keep that cable moving up. So then you'll do the next one just the same way. So the 2 in a row will be around this front post double crochets that are in 2 rows below. So that's what keeps this cable going. So these single crochet lines that you're working with, you're always gonna skip right over top of them. So remember that those 2 stitches that were just put in equal the next 2 stitches that were in the single crochet line in the row that we're working on. So now to continue this pattern along is that you're going to single crochet to the next, and now you're gonna do a front post treble going down on an angle. So where are we gonna head to? We're gonna head all the way so that we can get the stitches that we're crossing over into. So if you go down here, so now you're going to put in a crossover that creates that V shape. So you have to look to where that hole was, and if you need to mark it with a stitch marker, just go ahead and do so, and it has nothing in that stitch. You see that stitch is empty. So in order to reach over there, you have to wrap over twice for a treble, and then all you just have to do is that you have to go to that empty stitch and pop it out toward the front side to stay on the front. Pull through 2 and 2 and 2, and now you have that leaning over on its side. So that stitch now counts as the very next one, so you want to skip that one and then go to the next one. You're gonna single crochet in there, you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then single crochet into the other one. So these whole chain 1s that you're skipping will sit right over top. So this one here that you did should be the center point of this when it leans over down in. Okay, so now the next one is going to be into the same stitch again. It's a front post, or sorry, it's a treble. So wrap that hook twice and going into the same stitch as you did the other one, come backward and pull through. And backward just means that just go don't go just means that you've already passed the stitch. Okay, so it creates that V shape. So that counts as this next crochet, so you want to then go into the next 2. So here's the consistency on this particular, on these on the outside here, is that in the first time after you get these cable work done, there's only 1 single crochet, but after this point there's always gonna be 2. Okay, so you'll finish the V shape and the 2 before you move along. So the next 2 are going to be front post double crochets down into here. Okay, so you're gonna maintain those. So wrap that hook once and going into the other front post double crochets and maintain those to raise them up to create that cable, and then do the next one exactly that way. So the next 2 are going to be, so those count as the 2 that you're in front of, so 1 and 2. Go to the third one and I want you then to double crochet 2 in a row, so 1 and 2. And now you got right below you are the 4 that are in the center. So what we want to do in the row number 1 here is that we want to create the crossover. So the first 2 are gonna cross over into this one and then this one, and then the next one is gonna go into the first one and then the second. So let's learn how to do that. So we're gonna wrap our hook twice. Okay, so whenever we go across on an angle, just like you did over here, when we went on an angle, it'll always be a treble. So wrapping the hook twice. Okay, go to the third one that's over and then just treble, that's going around the post itself, and then do the next one. So wrap it and go into the next one, front post treble. Then you're gonna front post treble around the other 2 that you skipped over. So start with the first one and you're gonna wrap it and then come around the post. Stay on the front side of your work, don't have to turn your project around, and then do the next one. So now you just caused your cabling to now switch over. Okay, you'll see it come up alive really soon. So in behind you will have 4 empty stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's what those are equivalent to. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and now you're going to double crochet, or sorry, single crochet 2 in a row like you did before you even started that. So you can see the consistency. So you had 2 over here to start with, you did your crossover, and now there's 2. So the next 2 are gonna reach down into this outside front post double crochets. So wrap the hook and go into the front post double crochets. Do the next one. So there's 2 in a row. And then the next 2 are just double crochet or single crochets. So what we're gonna do now is that we are going to do that crossing over again in order to create that look. So you have to look for that empty stitch. It's way over here, and you're gonna front post, sorry, you're going to treble into that empty stitch. So wrap the hook twice, reach all the way over and treble over all the way, and that includes this stitch here that you're gonna cover. You're going to single crochet the next, and then you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then go single crochet into the next. So this hole that you just did equals to where this other hole is right below, so they kind of equal each other. So now you're gonna come back and do this one again, front post treble, sorry, front post, sorry, it's not a front post treble, it's a treble into the same stitch. My apologies for that. Okay, and now that equals this stitch in behind, so now you're going to single crochet 2 times in a row. Okay, so you kind of see how things are working out. See, the cabling is happening to you. So now you're just gonna start, and we're gonna go to the next layer of these cable work. So you got the 2 that are sticking up, you got the 4 in the middle, and then the 2. So the 2 on the outside are gonna maintain themselves, so just a front post double crochet around the next 2. And then the next 2 are just single crochets, so make sure you skip over those 2 that are in the back. And then you're gonna do your crossover. So wrap that hook twice, go to the third one of the 4, front post treble, wrap that hook twice and go to the next one after that one. So there's your 2 in a row that are in that direction, and now you're gonna come back and do the first one of the 4 that you skipped. And then do the next one that you skipped. So remember, those 4 are blocking 4 in behind. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then it's just single crochet in the next 2. So make sure you don't forget to do that. A lot of people think that that doesn't happen, that you're skipping those in the back. So this is just a front post double crochet. You're maintaining that going up in row number 1. Okay, the next 2 are just single crochets, 1 and 2, and now you're gonna do your V again. So just front post, this is a treble reaching into that whole space, single crochet into the next one after that one, chain 1 and then single crochet. and now you're gonna come back into the same hole. Okay, so just watch that these holes are on top of each other. Come into the same one that you just did that last one on, and then continuing along. Okay, so just one single crochet only after this one because the cable is the next. So you're just gonna double crochet into the next front post, double crochet in the next two, and then single crochet into the final. Okay, so you can kind of see what's going on here. You see your V's going on. You see your cabling work is going to be becoming more and more obvious, and then you can do that all the way across. So let's move up to row number 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 and 14 are all the same of just single crochet. So you just turn your work and making sure, so these chain 1 spaces that you're leaving, you're gonna make sure you fill that in. So just chain up 1. So whenever we have an even number for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and 14, it's 1 single crochet into each. I don't need to show you this complete row each and every time that we go up in this pattern. It's always gonna be the same. So make sure when you get to that chain 1 space, you fill it in, and then continuing along all the way to the other side. Now see at the end of this row, we'll move up to row number 3 together. So let's start up row number 3 together. We're gonna start off again, and we're gonna maintain this outside cable, always going all the way up on the outside. The V, now that you got the first one in, you'll see easily where the V is gonna go each and every time because it just lines up. And then this time in the cable, what we're going to do is that this line still maintains, so these two side by side are gonna maintain. The next 4 that have crisscrossed in the row below are just gonna stay on top of each other. So we're just gonna line them up and continue just like so all the way down for row number 3. So once you have this V stitch here, this V formation the first time, it's so much easier then to follow it as you go along. So let's begin row number 3. We're going to chain up 1, and then the first one is going to be a single crochet, and then you're going to maintain this cable work that is appearing underneath. So just coming right in, and you're just gonna go a front post double crochet around that same front post double crochet in the row below. Just like that. Okay, so you see it's following up. So now the next one is just 1 single crochet because it's on the outside. Normally there would be 2 in the V's that were over here, but only on the outside there's only 1 single crochet, and now you're gonna reach over and do this crossing with the treble. So wrap that hook twice, find that empty hole, okay, and it's that stitch that you're gonna go into. And if you're not sure where that hole is, just look for the center point of the V in below. So then skip 1 stitch in the back, which is the same stitch of what it's covering, and then single crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1 and single crochet in the next. There's your new hole for when you have to revisit this again, and then treble into that same stitch to create the other side of the V. Now you're gonna, that counts as this one here, so you're just gonna single crochet in the next 2. So just remember on the one side when it's next to the edge there's only 1 single crochet, but then it ends up being 2 on the other side. So you're gonna maintain this cable going straight down, so just wrap the hook and front post double crochets around the other front post double crochet for 2 in a row. This is row number 3, and then you're gonna single crochet 2 into the 2 in a row. So 1 and 2. So the next 4 are your cable work. So what you have to do is you have to watch where to grow. So you have to grow and grab 2 rows below. So these 2 that appear to be peeking out, those are what you need to start right away. So just wrap the hook and just kind of manipulate things so that you can pull it up and it will make it pull forward, which gives it the illusion that it's wrapping in around each other, and then you'll do the next one like that. Okay, and then the next 2 they're leaning over like this. You're just gonna maintain those, so just wrapping around them in a row. So these 4 are just right in a row. It's just a matter of how you grab them. See, it creates that crisscross. The next 2 are single crochet. Okay, these are gonna come straight down, front post double crochet, and then you keep repeating that pattern all the way across. So the next 2 are singles. I'm already remembering this pattern, by the way, just so you know. So I'm wrapping that hook twice and I'm looking for that hole Okay, and that's the stitch I want to go into. Okay, and then I single crochet into the next one, chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next, and then do the other side of the V. So coming into that same hole that you skipped before, straight on down, and then single crochet in the next two. Okay, so there's those V's that separate your cable work, and then you're continuing along. So these ones are straight down. This is on the outside of the cable work knot looking contraption, and then the next two are single crochet. So there is the crossover happening right here. So remember the first two, you just got to manipulate those and pull those forward. So go into the first two, they're kind of buried up underneath, but this will pull it out, and go into the next one. And then these two are leaning over, so you'll get those two just sequentially, just one and two, and then just continuing along. So single crochet, and then straight down for this one here. This is exactly what you see in the pattern. As you're going across, you're going to single crochet in the next two, and then you're going to then do that V formation that's going to happen. So now we're going to complete the V going straight on down. Okay, just look for that empty hole, just wrap that hook twice going into that chain one space, or chain one, just look for that chain one space and go into that stitch, and then just single crochet in the next one, chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next one, and then just do that coming back, just treble into the same stitch. Okay, and then on this, because it's the outside one that you want to work on here, is that you have to make sure that you go in just one single crochet this time, and then just coming straight on down for the front post double crochets that are existing on the very edge. Okay, and then you're going to single crochet into the last one there. Okay, do you see how that's maintaining itself? So now let's move up, and you're going to then complete, this is exactly like row number 2, except for this is row number 4, just one single crochet in each, including the chain one spaces as you go all the way across, and I'll meet you and we'll start up row number 5 together. So let's go for row number 5. I've already come all the way back, and now row number 5, again we're going to maintain the outside cable. The V is going to stay in the same spot, and then this time in row number 5 we're going to do a crossover in the middle like we had already in number 1. So you can, if you follow it, even though it doesn't look the same way in the diagram, what's happening is that this is crossing over right in the middle to create the look that is really quite amazing. So if you look at it here, it's doing the crossover right in the center. And okay, so we're actually still down at this part here. Okay, so that's what that's doing, and then you're just going to continue to maintain everything. So just have to watch out for these ones right in the 4 in the middle. Make sure that you cross over. So let's begin row number 5. So let's begin row number 5. You're going to chain up 1 and 1 single crochet into the outside one. Okay, and then you're going to come straight on down to maintain those cables on the outside of the work. Okay, so the outside of the Afghan, just straight on down like so. So then the next one, you're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then you're going to do the V formation. So just wrap that hook twice going into that same stitch right in the center. Just reach on over, single crochet in the next one, chain 1 and skip 1 and single crochet in the next one, and then just do the V going in the other direction. So wrap that hook twice, same stitch in the center, and remember what I said. So this is the V shape that you're doing, so you just make sure you get 2 single crochets on this side of it. It's only 1 when it's on the outside of the blanket. Okay, so now you're gonna jump straight on down to keep those cables moving upwards. So this is a front post double crochet for 2 in a row, and then you're going to then single crochet the next 2. So now we're back in the middle of the group of the 4 that is in the middle. So now we're going to do a crossover. So we're going to wrap the hook twice and go to the 3rd one, and you're going to do a front post treble. Then you're going to do another one, next one right after it. Okay, So this is what's creating that crossover. And now you're gonna go to the first one that you had skipped, wrap hook twice and go in the front post. Wrap the hook twice, going into the next one. And then you're just gonna single crochet in the next two after that. So now you can see it physically actually looks like it crossed over each other. So you're gonna come straight on down to keep maintaining those cables, front post double crochet. Okay, 2 single crochets in a row, so 1 and 2, and now you're in a V. Okay, so just wrap twice, going into the one that is available to you right in the center. Single crochet into the next one, chain 1, skip 1, and then single crochet in the next, so you have your next hole ready for you next time you're visiting that spot. Wrap the hook twice and going into the same one. So these V's get all really quite easy as you're going along. Okay, then single crochet in the next 2. Okay, and then come on straight down. It's just a front post double. And then single crochet in the next 2. And then you're back to the middle section here. So just remember, it's a front post treble. You're going on an angle, so it's a treble. Going into the third one over, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you're gonna do a front post treble there. Do the next one right after it. So just remember, everything kind of keeps in sets of 2. And now you're gonna come to the first one that you had skipped over. And then to the next one, because there's 2 there. And so now that you got that look of crossing over. Okay, and now you're just gonna single crochet in the next 2 and then coming out to the outside of the blanket. So you have to just keep maintaining these as you go. So you got like these arrow shapes, you got these crossovers. This is coming straight on down, front post double. See what I'm saying about it's everything is maintaining on one side of the blanket so you can keep it nice and easy. So you're gonna single in the next 2. You're gonna do a treble into that chain 1 space area. Okay, and then single crochet, chain 1, and then single crochet in the next one. Make sure you skip that 1 in the middle and then come back and do that 1 right in the center. And so remember, on this side there's only gonna be 1 single crochet by itself. The next 2 are straight on down. Those are front post double crochets, and then the very final one is just 1 single crochet. Let's see, isn't that neat? Okay, so what I want you to do is it's gonna turn and work, and row number 6 we're just gonna single crochet yourself all the way back, and I will see you back here in just a moment. Don't forget those chain 1 spaces to fill those in with the single crochet 2. So let's begin row number 7. So 7, again, the outside areas stay consistent with the V's. Just watch for that. So number 7, what's gonna happen now is that these are gonna start switching spots. So this where I have Daniel put in that 3 single crochet, so it's normally been 2 and we've been maintaining that group of 2 by itself as it's been crawling up, but now we're gonna just put in 3 in a row, and then we are going to then do front post trebles around these 2, and then we immediately go then into these 2, put 2 single crochets in a row, and then again coming backward this way and then going over this way. Okay, so we're gonna be switching spots to make it look like it's crossing over. Again, everything is an illusion, and then you just keep on maintaining that across. So let's try row number 7. So let's begin row number 7. You're gonna chain up 1 and 1 single into the outside one. Okay, and then come straight on down and do front post doubles. Okay, so let's keeping that maintaining up as we go. So the outside one never changes if you remember it that way. So now you're gonna single crochet into the next one, and then you're gonna treble into that chain 1 space area right in the center. Okay, and then you're going to then I'm just making sure I'm keeping my stitch counts right. So single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet into the other side, and then come back down into there. Okay, so let's see, it stays nice and consistent. Single crochet in the next 2, just like this. And now this is where the game plan is gonna change. So what we have now is that we chain 2 after this, but now we have to chain 1 more. So remember, we have to go 1 more. So I did that on purpose just to make sure that you're keeping keeping awake. And then the next 2 here, they're gonna start leaning over and coming towards the center. So you're gonna front post treble, okay, and you're going to go into the very first one, okay, then you're going to front post treble the very next one, and you're gonna think it's weird when you go to do this the first time, but it makes sense. And then you are going to reach over and front post treble the other 2 that are buried underneath this crossover. Okay, so these become the new 4 in a row for this particular row. And then do the next one. Just like you see here. So the middle 2 that separate these, so 1 and 2, are now going to be single crochets. So just coming in, so 1 and 2, and you can see that this one starts to turn in, this one's continuing to stay out, and now the first 2 here, those are going to be front post trebles, 1 each. So you're not skipping over anything, just maintaining. Do the next one. And then immediately jump to these, a group of 2, and do those 2 just sequentially, just as a front post treble. And then finally what you're going to do is that there will be 3 single crochets before you start doing this V shape down. So you can either say this is where the V shape is gonna be, you can count back 3, but you can also count it along the back as well. So there should be 4 empties, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's the same thing. So I could go back in this direction and count, or count it in the other direction. So it'll be 3 single crochets in a row. So that's Daniel's highlighted red there. So the V shape is gonna be maintaining itself exactly where you know it. Okay, and keep on that pattern, making it look consistent. Chain 1, skip 1, 1 single, and then treble into that same one in the middle. And then single crochet, and this you have to single crochet 3 in a row. So this is 1 and 2 and 3. So I just want to come back here, so you can see it kind of leans, kind of coming in as it's starting to move in. So we're doing the same on the other side. So I already just did my 3. So the first 2 that appear popped up, they're going to be front post trebles. And then where do we go from here? We go to that middle section, okay, and grab the first 2 that appear buried underneath, and you're gonna front post treble those. So you just do them in a row. And then the 2 middle ones, okay, you can either skip over 1, 2, 3, and 4, or just look for the 2 middle ones and single crochet in the 2 middle ones. And now you're going to then pick this one up that are here going in this direction, so they're front post trebles. And then you're gonna jump to these 2 that are on the outside. Okay, so you can just lean it forward. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, leave those 4 empty, and the next 3 are single crochets. And then you're in the V shape again. So just continue to maintain that with a treble into that space. Single crochet next, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet next, and then come back into that same space. And then the next one is just a single crochet, and then the last 2 are exactly where they should be, of just front post double crochets. So it's a really kind of an easy round once you break it down into steps. And so you can see that these cabling is starting to turn in. Okay, so it's starting to come in. These are coming outward, and now the next one we're gonna come all the way back. So this is an even number that comes back, so just one single crochet into each, including the chain one spaces that you're working with, and then I'll see you back here and we'll start row number 9 together. So let's begin row number 9 together. Row number 9, starting off the same, the V's are in the same position, and now this time the crossovers are right where these are in the center. So there's now 2 groups of 4 instead of just 1, and those are gonna cross over one time, and we're just gonna maintain that as we go. So let's begin row number 9. So let's begin row number 9. We're gonna chain up 1 and then 1 single crochet into the first one, and then you're gonna come on straight on down. And you're gonna keep those cables moving up on that outside of that blanket. Then you're going to just put in 1 single crochet into the next to maintain that, and then here's your V again. So just it's a treble, so coming into that space. Okay, and then single crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next, and then come back and do the treble into that same middle one, like so. And then this one here, okay, so if you look down row number 9, there was 3 red ones, so we want to make sure that there's 3 single crochets in a row that are gonna maintain that to keep that space open. And now we're going to do a crossover. So the next 4 that are straight on down, we're gonna cross over. So we're gonna reach on over to the 3rd one, and then the 4th, go to the 1 and then the 2. So wrap that hook twice and go into the 3rd one, and you're going to do a front post treble crochet and do the next one. So this is causing it to cross again, and then you're gonna come into the first one. So, and then you'll do the next one like that. So these just now these 4 just crossed over each other, and now you're gonna maintain the 2 that are in the center. So just single crochet 1 and 2, and then the next 2 groups here are going to cross over. So you're gonna reach over to the 3rd one, front post treble, and then do the next one. Okay, come into the first one, okay, and then come into the second. So these just crossed over, these groups of 4. Okay, so now you got 2 groups that have just crossed over, and now there's 3 single crochets in a row. So 1, 2, 3, and now you're ready for that V formation once again. So just wrapping that hook twice, coming into the center, single crochet into the next one, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next, and then come back and do that middle one again for the other side of the V. Okay, and now you're gonna run into that pattern again. So then there's gonna be 3 single crochets in a row. So 1, 2, and 3, and then these 4 are gonna cross over. Okay, so it's just like we did all over on the other side. So let's cross them over. So we'll go to the 3rd one. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Go to the next one, which is the 4th one. Come back and do the first one. And come back and do the second. Okay, so you just crossed over, do the 2 center single crochets that separate them, and then these groups of 4, they're gonna cross over again. So go to the 3rd one, front post treble, go to the 4th, go to the 1st, and then go to the 2nd. Okay, and then there will be 3 single crochets in a row. So if you're never sure, just count back and behind. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. You leave those because those are those crossing over. So 1, 2, and 3, and that should put you right back on track, and you are. And so then you continue that same idea going all the way across, and then once you get to the other side, you're going to treble that middle one to keep that V shape going. Okay, single next, chain one, skip one, single next, come back and do the one you skipped over, or the middle section again. Okay, and on this side of it, don't forget that there's one single crochet left, and then you come straight on down to keep that cable moving upward on the outside of the blanket. So that was row number 9. And so you're gonna come back and do row number 10, which just single crochets back all the way across. Don't forget that chain 1 spaces. So do single crochet all the way back for row number 10. So just turn it and continue, and I'll see you back and we'll start number 11 together. So let's review number 11. So 11, we're gonna come across again. The V's and the cables are on the outside areas are gonna all stay the same. And now in number 11, now we're going to come back and do kind of what we did here, but in the opposite format. So we're now returning back to 2 after a V. So only these 2 rows had the 3. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna reach across and grab the first one and then put in our single crochets, and then we're gonna come back in this direction. So we're moving this cable back into this other direction. So when we come back down into here from row number 1 again, we'll be able to maintain this. So you'll see that we're kind of returning these cables back to the center like they already were way down here. So let's start row number 11. So let's begin row number 11. Chain up 1 and 1 single into the outside one, and then straight on down then for the first 2 cables in a row, the front post double crochets. Okay, 1 single crochet next, and you're doing the V shaping as usual on the outside. Hopefully by now you've gotten used to doing this pattern if you're this far into the project, and then you're coming back in and finishing that V shape off. I think this is also called the lark's foot track stitch as well. So this time we're returning back to 2. So after you get your V, just 2 single crochets in a row, and then we're gonna start maintaining. So right now it's crossed over, but what we're gonna do is start separating it to get it to look like it is down here again. So this one that appears to be traveling under will separate back out again. So the first 2, just going to get the first 2 there. Okay, so don't go and skip over, just go to the first 2, and you're going to put in front post double or treble, and then you're going to put in 2 single crochets. So if you're confused, just look behind it. So 1 and 2 and 2 single crochets in a row, and then you're going to then front post treble around this one here. Okay, just go sequentially, and this is putting the cables back to the way that they used to look when you first started, like so. And now you just immediately just skip over and just continue to grab these 2 that are over here. So don't put any single crochets in now, just go in and front post treble around the other 2 that are sitting underneath, and this is putting those back into the center. And do the next one also. Just pry it out if you can't see it right away, and then what you're gonna do then the next 2, if you're confused at all, just look behind. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then go to the next 2, and then you're going to do the front post trebles again. And what this did is it separated it back out. Isn't that neat? So you see it got it to separate out, so you got the spaces that are now going down in between to allow you to come up, and then the next ones are gonna start coming up just like you see here. So then this is after this one, so you're gonna do 2 single crochets in a row, and then the V shape as you know it. Okay, and keep on going. So one thing I really like about this particular pattern is that it's not hard to understand, and that there's so much consistency in the design that it's easy. So there's gonna be 2 single crochets after the V, and then you got to separate these back out. Okay, so then just front post treble around the first one. So just reach on over, front post treble around the next one. Just pry it out if you can't see it. and then 2 single crochets in a row. So just 1, 2, just like that. Just from front post trebles around the next 2. Just like that. And now you're gonna reach on over and grab these 2 that are all the way over there, and also pull those all in. Just like that. Then the next 2 are single crochets, but if you're not sure, just count 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're not sure which one it is. When I first ever did my sample, I wasn't sure exactly, so I learned to pull it forward so I could see it. And now you're just going to front post treble around these 2. And you keep maintaining this pattern all the way across your blanket. After you get that done, the next 2 are just single crochets, and then you're running into a V again. Okay, so maintain that V. Okay, and then chain 1. So this is row number 11. You have row number 13 to do in order to keep the pattern in balance. So once you get to the V done, it's just 1 single crochet, and then you're maintaining the cable going down for a front post double crochet going down. So in this row we really kind of return the pattern very close to where it should be, and then in row number 13 we're gonna return it back to the way it was in the very beginning, and then you continue to repeat rows from 1 to 14. So you can really see that it's really starting to take shape. And let's continue, and you're gonna turn your work for row number 12, just single crochet all the way back across as usual. So let's review row number 13. So 13 we're gonna come across now, and now you're just gonna repeat everything you'd already know. And now in the center it's just like it was when it was down here right in the very beginning. Okay, and you're gonna come straight down, and you're going to put in your front post double crochets. So when they come straight down in the middle, they are front post double crochets, where when they cross over on angles, then they are treble crochets. So you just got to watch out for those that are doing that, and you're going to maintain exactly what you know for row number 13. So let's begin. We're going to chain 1 single into the first, and then the first 2 coming down are front post double crochets as normal. The next one is 1 single crochet by itself, and then we're going to do your V shape area. I really like the look of these V shapes. Just it seems like it makes a lot of sense, and it just has such great balance in this particular blanket. So after you get your V shape done, you're back to 2 single crochets. Okay, so you're maintaining the cabling going up on the outside just like you were before. So you'll be doing that for a while as you work your way back up the rows. They're just front post double crochets, and then there's gonna be 2 single crochets in a row, so 1 and 2, and then these 4 that are in the center here are just gonna be front post double crochets just in a row. So just working our way across them. That'll really pull them in. Okay, and then the next 2 are front post are 2 single crochets, and then you're going to maintain these going straight down again with the front post double crochet. And then there's 2 single crochets in a row. So you can see then it maintains. It's coming back to the very beginning, just like how it was in the very beginning, and then you're just going to do your V shape as normal. It's just reaching over with the treble. Okay, there's 2 single crochets after you get this V section in. and then you have your section here again. So the first two come straight on down with the double crochet, front post double crochet. Okay, 2 singles in a row, and then the next 4 are straight on down with front post double crochets. So it really pulls it nice and tight together. This is row number 13, and it's pretty good. It's going pretty good. So 2 singles in a row. Okay, straight on down with the front post double crochet. Then 2 singles, and then you're back to the V formation again. Wrap that hook twice. Okay, and then there's just 1 single crochet after that V, and then the last 2 are just straight on down with the front post double crochet. So that was row number 13. So you're gonna just finish this row, and row number 14 is just turning your work single crocheting back, and then I'm gonna meet you back on the pattern, and we'll just quickly recap on where we are, and you can just maintain then this pattern then continuing, because right where we are right here is just rows number 1 through 14 all over again, where it'll come up, it'll do a crisscross, it'll divide up into 2, and then or redivide in back in just like you see here. So let's just go back across where number 14 of single crochet. So row number 14 is complete, single crochet back all the way. So now you're just gonna repeat from rows 1 through 14 all over again, and row number 1 is the crossover just as you see. So these 2 here are going to cross over, and again you're gonna maintain, and it's gonna do exactly what it shows in the photograph, and you can see so these V shapes continue to maintain themselves, the outside maintains itself, and these cabling start to dash in and out of each other, and it's really an amazing time. So this is a start. It feels complicated to teach this pattern, but the reality is if you can follow the diagram within these projects, you can actually do a great job just watching where everything is going in order to make sure that you're watching. So you can see that the crisscrossing is happening just like it does on the pattern, and if you can see the crochet work like this but in yarn, then you're having a good time. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. Have a great day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.